this is Katerina from the Evolution of Stitches, and on this video tutorial I'm going to show you how to create the pattern for the slippers, a pattern which you can use in many other projects. So I will start by casting on my stitches. The size that I'm knitting is a size 38 women's slippers or 5 UK. Of course, if you would like to adjust the size, what you will need to do is to measure the point of your calf where you would like the top of your slippers to be, and then using a gauge adjust the number of stitches accordingly. Another thing that you should take into consideration when you cast on your stitches will be the type of yarn that you are going to use and the size of your needles. For this tutorial I am going to use this acrylic yarn, and the size of my straight needles is 2¼ millimeters. So if you use another size or another type of yarn, please adjust your casting on stitches accordingly. I am going to cast on 34 stitches. The way I do it, I fold the yarn in order to cast on my stitches. If you would like to see how I do it, there is a video tutorial. Of course, please feel free to use any way you prefer to cast on your stitches. So I start like this. I always drop these 2 stitches at the end of the first row, so I don't count them, but you can learn more about this if you watch the tutorial. So please let me finish casting on my 34 stitches and I will meet you then. I have cast on my 34 stitches. Actually I have cast on 36, but I'm going to drop these 2. Now I'm ready to start knitting my rib stitch, 1 by 1 rib stitch. I am going to knit 18 rows of 1 by 1 rib stitch, but please feel free to knit as many rows you prefer for your slipper. Now I am going to start knitting my 1 by 1 rib stitch. The only thing you should pay attention for this pattern is that you have to slip the first stitch on every row, and then you start knitting your rib stitch. For my 1 by 1 rib stitch I am going to knit 1 and purl 1, so like this. So please finish the row and I will meet you then. I have finished knitting the first row of rib stitch. I have 2 more stitches to go because I am going to drop the last 2. What you need to do here and on every row is to knit the last stitch. This is very important for the pattern. When you reach the end of each row, your last stitch should be knitted. So now I'm dropping the last 2 and I'm ready to start knitting the second row. What I'm going to do again here is to slip the first one and then continue knitting my stitches the way they come up. So in this way I am going to knit 18 rows in total. This is my second row, so please finish the rows of your rib stitch and I will meet you then. I have finished knitting my rib stitch. I knitted 18 rows in total and I got 6 centimeters or 2.5 inches. Of course, you can knit as many rows as you like. Now I'm ready to start knitting my pattern. I'm going to knit the first row of the pattern. So let's start. On this row I'm going to establish the pattern. So I'm going to divide the stitches into different types of knitting. Also on this row I am going to decrease 1 stitch. I have knitted 34 stitches, but when I finish this row I will end up with 33 stitches. Also, if you see here, by knitting the last stitch on every row, these V's are created that will help me form my pattern later. Now let's start. I am going to start knitting the pattern on the right side of the project. The first thing that I'm going to do is slip 1 stitch, and for the next 4 stitches I'm going to create a seed stitch pattern. What I'm going to do is to purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1. Now there are 5 stitches on my right needle. Now I'm going to knit 7 stitches in total. So now there must be 12 stitches on my right needle. Yes. And now I am going to purl 3 stitches and knit 1. Now I'm in the center of the project. What I'm going to do here is take this stitch, twist it, and now I'm going to work these 2 stitches together, and in this way reduce my stitches by 1. So like this. Now I'm going to knit 1 stitch, purl the next 3, knit the next 7, and now I'm going to work the seed stitch, which is I purl this one, I knit this one, I purl the next one, I knit this one, and now normally I would purl this one, but because this is the last stitch of the row, I will knit it too. So I have finished the first row of the pattern. Now I'm ready to work the second row, which is the wrong side of the pattern. On this row I will start by slipping my first stitch on the right needle. Now I'm going to work 4 stitches of seed stitch, meaning that I will work the opposite stitch. So here I have a purl stitch. I'm going to knit, and then I'm going to purl, knit and purl. Then these are the 7 stitches which I knitted on this side. Here I'm going to purl them. And the 3 stitches which I have purled, here I'm going to knit. And then I'm going to purl the 3, now I'm going to knit these 3, here I'm at the point with the 7 knit stitches on this side, and I'm going to purl them. So I'm left with 5 stitches, which I'm going to work as seed stitch. So this one I'm going to purl, knit, purl, knit, and the last one again I'm going to knit. You should make sure that you always create these V's at the end of the row. And now I'm ready to work my third row. Again, I'm working on the right side of the pattern. So first I slip this first stitch. Now I'm working the 4 seed stitches. So this is a knit stitch, a purl, a knit stitch, and a purl one. And now I have these 7 stitches which I'm going to knit in order to create this stockinette stitch. So now here I'm going to purl these 3 stitches. At this point I'm going to work these 3 stitches together, and the way that I'm going to do it is this. I'm going to skip these 2 and I'm going to take the third one and place it over these 2, and in this way I have created this loop, and now I have 2 stitches here. What I'm going to do here, because in this way I created a decrease, so now I have created this loop here. Now I will need to add a stitch, because otherwise I will be left with 1 stitch less. So what I'm going to do is knit this stitch like this. Now I'm going to create a yarn over and knit the second stitch like this. So now again here there are 3 stitches, as you can see, and now I'll continue in the same way. I am going to purl these 3. I'm going to knit the 7 stitches, and for the rest 5 stitches I'm going to work the seed stitch, meaning that I will alternate my stitches. Here, which is a knit stitch, I will purl, and on the purl stitch I will knit. So I will purl here, I will knit here, purl this one, knit this one, and again, because this is the last one, I'm going to knit it as well, like this. And in this way I have finished this row again. Now I'm ready to work the 4th row at the back of my project. What I'm going to do is slip the first one, work the next 4 stitches in the opposite way. So here it's a purl stitch I'm going to knit, a knit stitch which I'm going to purl, knit and purl, and now I'm at the 7 stitches which I I'm working with stockinette stitch, so I'm going to purl them. These 3 stitches I'm going to knit. And here is my yarn over and 2 stitches before and after the yarn over. These I'm going to purl like this. And now again I'm going to knit the next 3. And purl the next 7 stitches. And for the rest 5 I'm going to knit the opposite stitch on top of each one, except the last one, which I'm going to knit as always. Now again I'm on the right side of my project, and what I need to do is to continue working the stitches as they come up, except the seed stitch. So what I'm going to do is slip the first one, knit this one, purl, knit, and purl. Now I have these 7 stitches which I'm going to knit. Three purl stitches, and these 3 where I have placed the yarn over I'm going to knit. And now I'm going to purl the next 3. I'm going to knit the 7 stitches, and create the seed stitch on this side as well, except the last one. So the last stitch is knitted. Now I'm going to work the back of my project. As you can see, I have started forming the pattern. Now it's easy to know what to do because you have the pattern created. What I'm going to do on the wrong side of the pattern is to work the stitches as I did in the previous row of the back. So again I'm slipping this one, knit this one, purl this one, knit this one, and purl this one, and then purl the 7 stitches. And here I'm going to knit these 3, purl the next 3 where my yarn over is, and knit these 3, purl my 7 stitches, and now I'm going to work the seed stitch, 1 purl, 1 knit, 1 purl, 1 knit, and knit the last one like this. So in this way I have finished the pattern. From now on I'm going to repeat this same pattern, but I'm going to start working from this point onwards. Let me show you one more time. Here again I'm at the front side of the pattern. What I'm going to do is to work my stitches in the same way as I did before. So seed stitch, knit stitches, purl stitches, knit stitches, purl stitches, knit stitches, and seed stitch. So let me do it one more time. Here I'm going to start my knit stitches, the 7 knit stitches. Three purl stitches. Three knit stitches on top of the yarn over, like this. My yarn over was there, so 3 purl stitches here. Now I'm going to knit the next 7. And create my seed stitches. So like this. Now I'm going to work the wrong side of the pattern, which I'm going to work as I worked the previous back row. So please do it and I will meet you then. Now you will keep on repeating this pattern until you have the length you need, and please watch the second part of my tutorial on how to shape the slippers. See you soon!